Chapter 1089 of One Piece may have answered one of the biggest mysteries that has been plaguing One Piece fans for years now. Linking together a number of the most recent revelations in the manga can help us to piece together how the One Piece world had come to be. Everything from the technological marvels being discovered by Vegapunk at Egghead Island, as well as the secrets behind the government stronghold of Ennies Lobby, and even the truth behind the disappearance of the ancient kingdom. All of these mysteries may well have been solved by Oda after the release of Chapter 1089, but this is only if you've been paying attention. But don't worry, because in this video I'm going to be going through a theory which explains all of these mysteries based upon the most recent chapter of One Piece. So you're definitely going to want to stick around until the end of the video so that you know just how the One Piece world of today had come to be. One of the reasons that I believe that a lot of people may have missed this information is because key details from Chapter 1089 had come from the opposite ends of the chapter. The theory stems from material that was revealed at the very beginning and at the very end of the chapter. The chapter begins with the entire world being shown to be experiencing the effects of what was called the largest earthquake in modern history. This has caused untold destruction across the seas. Little did the people of the world know that the cause of this catastrophic earthquake was none other than the destruction of the Lulusia kingdom 6 days earlier. The aftermath following the attack which had destroyed Lulusia is finally shown to us, and in the place of where the entire island had used to be is nothing more than an enormous hole which descends deep into the depths of the ocean. And like I had mentioned in my chapter review, this enormous hole looks strikingly similar to one that we have seen before. Now, aside from the earthquake and the hole in the ocean which shows no signs of collapsing in on itself, there was also a third consequence, which is the rising of the entire global sea level by 1 meter. While this may not initially sound like much, this is enough to render entire islands underwater, eating away at coastlines and ports, and we had seen examples of some populations finding themselves frantically making their way towards their ships for safety. Even though the Lulusia kingdom had received the brunt of the damage and it was ultimately removed from existence, the entire world ended up being brought to its knees by the aftermath of its destruction. And the cause of this chaos is none other than the weapon Mother Flame. It is also the source of the second key piece of information that we've learned within this chapter. While York was speaking to the Gorosei, we learned that Mother Flame can only be made on Egghead Island, and York uses this as leverage to become a celestial dragon, as well as the fact that she as a Vegapunk can continue to make more. While it had previously been confirmed that Vegapunk had produced Mother Flame, now learning that Egghead Island is the only place where it can be created is some very interesting new information that we have learned, and it now leads us to an incredible conclusion. But before we get to that, we need to understand some things about Egghead Island and how it became the most technologically advanced island in the world. Vegapunk is already regarded as the smartest man alive, with his home island that he had left long ago being so advanced that even Frankie was shocked. With Egghead Island as his base of operations, he has been responsible for some of the most advanced technology in existence, including the Pacifista and the Seraphim. Something that we also know Vegapunk has been doing on Egghead Island is researching the Void Century, which was the reason for his attempted assassination by CP0. We are aware that he has already been able to acquire a certain amount of technology from long ago, as seen with the giant robot in Chapter 1065, which Vegapunk claimed was created 900 years ago during the Void Century. Since Vegapunk is clearly attempting to take inspiration from ancient civilizations in his scientific pursuits, what if this method was exactly how he had come to create the Mother Flame weapon, which was then passed on to the world government and the Gorosei? What if in that case Mother Flame is not a new weapon, but rather a weapon from the time of the Void Century, a single-use item of such destructive force that it can decimate entire islands? Hence why a lot of importance was placed upon Vegapunk, York, and Egghead Island in the most recent chapter. The world government doesn't want to risk losing the means of producing Mother Flame, otherwise they would have just destroyed Egghead Island similarly to how they did with Ohara and recently the Lulusia kingdom. Even with this knowledge that Mother Flame may be a Void Century era weapon, why does this matter in the current day? Well, this brings us back to the first reveal from Chapter 1089, which is the aftermath following the destruction of Lulusia. This can be boiled down to three main impacts. First, we have the destruction of the island and the giant hole left in its wake. Second, we have the giant earthquake felt throughout all of the seas, and the earthquake was far larger than anything recorded before. And thirdly, we have the global rise in sea level leading to the sinking of some islands. The second point may be one to consider with regards to the wording, as the chapter clearly specifies this to be the largest largest earthquake in recorded history. This is very suspicious wording given the pattern of erasing history that the world government seems to engage in. We do not know about the unrecorded history of the world which may have involved a similar experience with disaster of this scale, and who's to say if this wasn't caused by a weapon like Mother Flame. And then we have the first point, which is the gaping hole which is left in the place of the Lulusia kingdom. It is described as a waterfall that is being cut into the very oceans of the sea, and it bears a startling resemblance to another location in One Piece, which is the government stronghold of Ennies Lobby. The most defining feature of Ennies Lobby is its location, as it is suspended floating in midair above an enormous circular hole seemingly cut straight into the sea. The hole acts as a waterfall, meaning that even though there is nothing visible below apart from a huge black void, we can almost be certain that there is water down there. No other known location in One Piece even comes close to appearing as these two locations do. They are unique even within the One Piece world, and while Lulusia is a fairly recent development, Ennies Lobby as a stronghold has been around for decades, and in addition to this, we know nothing about the hole which Ennies Lobby is located over. It may well have been around for centuries, dating back to the Void Century. Now, given that their appearances are near enough identical, and we know that Mother Flame had created another gaping hole in the ocean, does this mean that a similar weapon was used in the past which had caused the hole beneath Ennies Lobby? As we covered earlier, Mother Flame appears to be a single-use weapon, or at the very least one which requires an extremely long length of time between uses. Otherwise, there wouldn't be a need for the Gorosei to request more from Vegapunk York. And we also know that this was the first time that Im-sama and the Gorosei had used Mother Flame. But since Im-sama has seemingly been around since the Void Century, would that mean that the last time that this weapon had been used was 900 years ago during the Void Century? To me, it makes sense that if Mother Flame truly is a weapon from the Void Century, then someone had used a similar weapon to create the hole under Ennies Lobby, destroying what had stood in its place. Now, if this hole truly was formed during the Void Century, then it likely even happened during the war which brought about the downfall of the ancient kingdom. This, of course, begs the question, what was previously located where Ennies Lobby now stands, as someone from almost 1000 years ago had decided needed to be removed from existence? One potential theory is that Ennies Lobby now stands over the ashes of what was once the ancient kingdom itself, the very island over which the world's biggest war was fought and whose defeat had allowed for the world government as we know it to come into existence. While Ennies Lobby having some kind of greater meaning behind it has been a floating theory throughout the One Piece fandom, I will admit to not being 100% convinced by this idea of it being the former site of the ancient kingdom. It appears to be far too small for the size that you would expect from a great kingdom, and given that it is located in the first half of the Grand Line as opposed to the New World, I would still need to see more evidence before I start to believe in this theory. Another question that still needs to be answered is what exactly is so special about the Ennies Lobby hole which allows for an entire island to float unsupported directly above it? Is it possible for a floating island to be created on top of the Lulusia kingdom hole? Is this the aftermath of an attack from Mother Flame which causes this strange phenomenon to occur, whereby it alters the laws of physics in the area of the attack in order to allow for this phenomenon? Also, how does any of this relate to the One Piece world at large? If this impact was isolated to one island like Lulusia, it would only be an interesting thing worthy of noticing. But if the theories are true that the hole under Ennies Lobby was created by a similar weapon, then it may be possible for us to begin noticing a pattern at hand. Now, while there isn't a third hole located in the ocean similar to what has been formed in Lulusia and Ennies Lobby, I believe that I have located a place within the One Piece world where there almost was a third hole, and it's somewhere where the Straw Hats have visited in the past. I'm referring to Long Ring Longland, and it was an archipelago that the Straw Hats had visited in the first half of the Grand Line. It is here that they had encountered both the Foxy Pirates and then, interestingly, Admiral Aokiji. The island itself was located as a chain of 10 separate islands, spread out in a perfect ring shape. As the arc had progressed, we learned that the island was not separate at all, and there was actually one circular stretch of land with the path between each island spending the majority of the time submerged underwater. If we treat the island as a whole, then the shape is very unusual, with a central circular area of water which is encompassed by a ring of land. It's almost as if someone had punched a hole straight through the middle of the complete island. But then who's to say that this isn't exactly what had happened? Is this the result of what happens if Mother Flame attacks an island bigger than its range of destruction? What if the modern day island is only the rim of what was once a bigger complete area of land? Maybe this remaining stretch is what had prevented the permanent waterfall effect as it exists for the other two examples, with the land left over causing a hole to collapse in on itself and then filling the area up with water. Of course, if this truly is a third example of a Mother Flame weapon being used, then it raises a lot of further questions. How many times was Mother Flame used in the past? Was this more common in the ancient war? Just how many islands have been destroyed by such similar weapons? You could also combine this with what we know about the island, with the way that the sea claims a majority of the leftover land for the majority of the time. It is possible that this island was once entirely above sea level, but in the past the use of Mother Flame may have caused the sea level to rise and thus causing the island to be submerged. If this is the case, then how many other islands were lost from the rising of the sea? Is that why the world of One Piece is so dominated by water? Just how much has the water level risen from what it was originally? It feels like with every potential answer that we get within One Piece, a dozen more questions suddenly begin to emerge. But we have reached the point of the video where I want to know all of your thoughts about this theory. Definitely continue the discussion in the comments. Let me know if you believe that Mother Flame is a weapon from the time of the Void Century, and if it has been recreated by Vegapunk in the modern day. How many times do you think that a weapon like Mother Flame has been used in the One Piece world? And more importantly, what is the truth behind the locations that have been previously destroyed by weapons like Mother Flame? As more and more secrets begin to unravel with each new chapter of One Piece, I will be analyzing every little detail, and I will be making similar theory videos to this one, which speak about all of the different revelations that we are getting in the new chapters. So be sure to subscribe to the channel and to stick around for more videos like this. I post regular chapter reviews, theory videos, character analysis, and much more. So definitely turn on the bell notifications and subscribe. And lastly, thank you for making it to the end of this video, and I cannot wait to see you in my next One Piece video. If you enjoy my content, then you can support my channel through Patreon for as little as $1 a month, or even through YouTube by becoming a channel member. You will gain access to exclusive channel perks and a Discord server which I frequently use. So become a member of my Zero Division and be the first to know about my upcoming videos. And once again, thank you for sticking around till the end of the video, and whatever you contribute will mean a lot to me.